Okay, we are here today talking about growing your light. I'm Aideen Ni Riada. My co-host today is Juliette Noske. We've been planning a really lovely new program starting in the new year sometime called the Shine Collective, about stepping into our power, becoming more visible, and just, embracing our gifts, our God-given gifts, and, finding that authentic self beneath there that, we know. Like, it's funny because I think we know ourselves. Like, we get these clues as to, what it is we're meant to be doing and how we should move forward. And we feel something, right? We feel something like an inspiration or a curiosity or a passion or an interest. It could be as simple as an interest. And we spoke about this a lot in one of the previous sessions where we were talking about sparking the flame. What is it though? What are the things that spark your light inside? What is it that you are curious about? What are you interested in? And the sessions that we're doing right now are kind of all leading up into the program that Juliette and I will be running in the new year sometime, probably starting in February. And watch this space because we're really excited to do all that. Some of you may know me, and my background is voice. I come from singing, and my big spark that was always kind of burning within me, but nobody else could see, was to do with my singing. Excuse me. And I really felt like I couldn't do the thing that I really wanted to do. It was the biggest block I had was to doing singing. And the journey I took to start, seeing myself as a singer or adventuring into the kind of journey that I wanted to take with singing, that took me on my personal development journey. That took me on my learn about yourself, Aideen, journey. It was the carrot that brought me along in my life. My successes with singing haven't always been when I wanted them to be, but the spark did grow, and it's continuing to grow. And I think we tend to have a little vulnerability around the things that are most important to us. And because of that vulnerability and that kind of, I hope nobody shoots this idea down because this one is the most important to me, that can make it hard sometimes to keep it going. Sometimes we hide that light because we think we're protecting it, I think. So that's my journey. And I really love fanning the flame in others. That's why I would have worked a lot helping others fulfill their dreams to sing, and now helping them to use their voice in a more broad way and bringing the energy of, sound to wellness and well-being through mantras. So that's my little background. That's where my flame started, and I'm still trying to grow it. I want to do a lot more with my singing, actually, so watch this space. Juliette, tell us a little bit about your journey with your light.
Hi there, can you hear me okay?
I can, yay.
So yes, tell about my light. Well, I know that in the beginning of in the early days of my childhood, I certainly didn't see that light within me, and my journey, there was very much a lot of sadness and overwhelm of emotions and upset. And I think for me, as I've gone along my journey and started to grow my light and grow that flame within, part of that journey has been realizing for myself and then working with others on like a spark of hope And for me, that is sometimes, you know, when we're so much in the darkness for whatever reason, in whatever area of our life, sometimes the light can be so faint that, you know, in those moments, I would say if we showed someone that they could, for example, be in the full lights of Hollywood or, you know, somewhere like that, it would scare them so much they'd run in the other direction. So it's in those moments where you need that tiny flame of hope to show them that, you know, at the other end there is light at the other end of the tunnel. And one of the ways in the beginning I began to grow my own light is there was an exercise that my mum gave me to do, which was to basically say, I love you, I love you, I love you, and then pink, pink, and pink, whilst looking in the mirror. And I asked her, you know, why pink, pink, and pink? And she said, well, because it makes you smile. Yeah. And, you know, I really didn't like myself, and I found it hard, you know, in the beginning. And in fact, I said to her, you know, I can't do this. And she said, you know, just fake it in the beginning and until you believe it. And I said, oh, I can't fake it. I'm not fake. I don't want to be fake. And she said, no, you know, you're an actress. You do acting. Just, you know, act as if in the beginning, and then soon, you know, you'll begin to believe it, because it's true. You're a beautiful soul. And in the beginning, it was really hard, but I did it. You know, I believed in my mum. My mum was a tree, a rock in my life who was there, one constant, very strong, and I respected her. I believed in her, and you know, when she shared things with me, I was like, you know, I believe, and so I did. I took it on. And then nowadays, you know, I'll find myself walking down the high street, and you know, when you see yourself, as you look to the side, you see yourself in a big shop window, and I'll kind of check myself out and I'll go, hey, I love you. And it's not in a kind of an egoic, boastful way. It's in a way that I see my light inside of me, because when you love someone, you don't look at their stretch marks and their wrinkles or their grey hair, or, you know, all these things that I'm gaining as I get a little bit older. And you don't look at those. You look deep into their eyes, deep into their soul. And, you know, they say the eyes are the window of the soul. And that's where someone's light is. And you've probably met one of those people where they just have this light shining out of their eyes, shining out of their whole being, and it glows, and you can feel it, you can see it. And so when you look at someone and you tell them you love them, that's where you look deep into their eyes, you look into their soul, and you connect with that divine essence of theirs, that light within. And when we're talking about your light in the Shine Collective, this is what we're talking about, and that light is something that, you know, our body may change and get older, and you know, change size and shape and all of that, and our hair may get longer or shorter, but that light within it's like the one constant that is there throughout. And even though, you know, we talk about growing your light and igniting your light, it's always there, but it may be at times very tiny and dim, and then other times it may be very bright. And it doesn't matter, you know, when it gets dim, but it's knowing the things that you can do to then begin to grow it so that it becomes brighter and can light your way as well as light the way for others in your life as well.
I love how you've put that.
Yeah. And Aideen, what's one of the ways that, like a practice or something that you do to continue growing your light?
been going through a growth phase, and I've been seeing myself kind of moving into a new version of myself. And I think it's, I turned 50 in April, and so it's been about 6 months since then. And it's almost like I've gotten to the point now where I've gotten used to the idea that I need to be a grown up a little bit, right? And I need to step into my power and not see myself as a girl so much as a lady or a woman or whatever. Because I know that people can rely on me, and that I can be of help to people, but there's still that slight imposter syndrome going, just a little bit, it's kind of like I'm about to burst out of something, and it's an uncomfortable place for me to be. So when you ask me, what am I doing? My brain isn't finding that thing as quickly as it used to, because I'm struggling a little. And of course, we all go through these growth phases, and things change in our lives, and we can be very confident in a certain area. But as soon as we elevate to a new level, like say, for instance, I want to go from speaking to my clients on my computer to speaking on stages, it's a big leap. And so there's a lot of, the confidence dips then for a moment, because you're like, how do I do this? You're not sure. What I tend to do is I have a great love of words, and I'm aware of my words. So I try to be careful of what I'm thinking, and I do a lot of writing. And right now, for instance, I have on my desk a notebook that I write to my guides with. So I've often found that big transformations have happened for me when I get a little nudge, like I hear a voice in my head that'll say, go do your singing workshops for adults, whatever it is. And I really, started to try out those ideas. Like I would be willing to test if that was really what was the right thing for me. So what I do right now is I'm writing these little notes to my guides. So dear guides, Aideen here, that's how I started. I wonder if I can get some advice about my website. So I'm like, I have a lot of lovely photos. Do I start with a website for my singing, for my new URL, or do I focus on, and I've asked all these questions, and I've put little Y's and N's beside it. And when I feel like I point my pen at the Y, and if I get a feeling of brightness, like if I get that lightness coming in, I'll go, oh, that's a yes, and I'll circle it. And then if I point at a letter, the Y or the N, and I get a neutral, like I don't have any reaction energetically or physically, then I'll know that it's more of a no or a maybe or a not yet. So I definitely need people around me, and at the moment I live in Michigan, and it's snowing right now really heavily, and I feel very isolated. So this is a way for me to have a friend advising me whenever I make my little notes here. And so I'd say that's probably the thing I'm leaning on the most at the moment, Juliette.
Yes, that's a beautiful exercise for others to possibly think of doing. I also have a book where I write to God, Great White Spirit Source, and pour out my questions as well as my gratitude. And what you were saying there about getting that feeling, it's interesting, because I was going for a walk this morning actually with a couple of friends, and we saw on the ground amongst the leaves, we saw this mushroom, and it was a very strange, some of it looked a bit like a face, and it was kind of creamy and purpley. And it was funny because as my friend came up, she didn't think it was a mushroom. She was thinking it was something else, but she said she could feel it. Her whole body was like, no. Her whole body was just saying no. And I actually got that similar kind of feeling as I looked at the mushroom. It was, like I say, creamy and then a little bit almost purpley. And I would imagine that it was non-edible. And they often say that, don't they? You can feel it in your body. It's like when my mum does this with medicine, not medicine, like vitamins or minerals or things like that she's taking, the vitamins, and she can feel in her body will either be a yes or a no or not quite sure. And yeah, she really senses that, and I think that can be used, like you say, with questions like our focus and the website or whatever it is, as well as relationships, as well as loads of areas in our lives. If we actually tune into it, we do have this unconscious awareness. And it reminds me, when I was in Spain, I went to a workshop regarding women's menstrual cycles, and when the woman asked questions, everyone had just randomly sat in a circle around the chairs that were placed there. And when she asked certain people, as she questioned people who were on certain parts of their menstrual cycle, they were all grouped together on certain sides of the room, and it was absolutely astounding. And she said, unconsciously, you're connected to this wisdom, you're connected to these natural body cycles, you're connected to your inner wisdom, and it's really just about taking off the layers of. And then coming back to remembering. And a lot more people are speaking about this sense of remembering, of coming back to what we already know, and our kind of our inner wisdom, and our body awareness.
I think it's so important because, I love biographies. And sometimes if you read about, successful people, they'll say, well, I had this feeling to do it, or I had this want to do it, and I didn't have any real evidence to say that this was the right thing to do, but I just knew I had to do it. And that's really what it is. It's not rocket science. Women are going to feel it, but men as well. And sometimes I feel like I was guided to do things that maybe were life lessons. So Mike sometimes complains because he's made some choices that he felt, that was the worst thing I ever did in my life. And so one of them was when he brought a group of young bandmates to Ireland, and he was trying to set up a band, and he was looking to get some buzz going and all of this, and it fell flat on its face. But guess what? Even though that project, he put thousands of dollars into it, right? And it didn't go anywhere. But that's when he and I met. So I was like, okay, so you didn't get the band project, but you got a bonus of like a future wife in, as a consolation prize maybe, but it's a big consolation. I'll be around longer than any band.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't call you just a consolation.
Well, sometimes it feels like that. You don't know that you're going through these difficult things. You don't know what the blessing is sometimes in it. And so you trust yourself, and you're like, okay, I know I'm meant to do this, but then it's harder than you thought it was going to be. That's a tough situation too.
Yes, yeah. And when you're in those moments, he was in a challenging moment there. When you're in the moment, it's not always easy to see that blessing. Sometimes, later with hindsight, we kind of see the blessing that was within that challenging moment, for sure. Yeah. I think also, like, my podcast, Soulful Sauna, Stories of Self-Mastery, is all around self-awareness and knowing yourself. And I love that, the words that were in the Oracle in Delphi, know thyself. And for me, this is a key part of growing your light and expanding your potential to shine, because when we go on that inner journey, that I was speaking about it before in one of the other audios about the inner work. So we do a lot of working out, but it's good to do some working in. And as we begin to know ourselves, we begin to know what our strengths are, what our weaknesses are, where to where to spend more of our time and energy to build things up, and how we need to maintain our light, and keep it shining bright. And one of the things that I practice is visualization and visual rehearsal. So, for example, and I know this supports me a lot, when I ran marathons, I got this technique. A lot of athletes and sports people use this as well, and they visually rehearse the situation. So, for example, I visualize myself finishing the marathon as I ran through, like the end where they have the tunnel and they give you a medal and it's a celebration. And I visualized and imagined all of my friends and family there, and the clapping and the celebrating, and how I was feeling and what people were saying to me. And that really, really, really supported me. I mean, this was my first ever marathon, this one where that I'm talking about. And I'd never run a marathon before. It just seemed crazy. I wasn't really a runner, to be honest. I only did it to raise money for a children's charity, and to challenge myself. And I decided I was going to sing the whole way round, as if it wasn't challenging enough anyway. And I managed to do it. I think it was 4 hours and 9 minutes or something, which apparently was quite good. And yeah, that vision, I believe that vision really, really supported me and helped me. And it also, it's not just the vision, it's then the thoughts and the actions that follow from that visualization that you're doing. And actually, we all use visual rehearsal. But most of the time, the visual rehearsal that we sink into, if we're not aware and careful, is the negative tunnel of doom. And the negative tunnel of doom is where, for example, you get a bill and then you think, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to pay that. Am I going to have to take out an overdraft? Maybe, the debt collectors will be coming around my house. Oh, possibly I could borrow that from so-and-so. Oh no, I'm not going to be able to buy this. And we think about all the terrible things. We don't go, oh, maybe I'm going to get this random amount of money in my bank account and it will be just enough to pay that bill. I mean, why don't we do that? And actually, Florence Scovel-Shinn, one of I'm constantly saying her name to everybody, but Florence Scovel-Shinn talks about this and how, God, source, higher spirit, whatever you want to name, like the consciousness, is our provider, and abundance is everywhere, and it's our divine right to have abundance. And so, the default mode is the negative tunnel of doom visualization. And if we can shift that into creative, constructive visualization of what we would love to happen, imagine the transformation in your life.
Absolutely. And I know you can't stay on for the last 15 minutes of our session today, Juliette, but I really appreciate.
I'm actually okay.
Are you?
I'm good.
Yay. Okay, good. You must have been visualizing that things would all work out.
Yeah.
And yeah, Juliette has an appointment and she needs some support, friend to give her a lift. And ta-da, there it goes. You've got one.
Yay.
What was coming to mind there was this idea then that we're growing our light, right? And we're visualizing and we're achieving. And I think a lot of us kind of brush over the successes. It's like you do the marathon, right? But you kind of forget that you did the marathon, right? And I was looking back over this year just gone by, which I found quite hard at times. And I realized that I wasn't marking any of the successes, and they weren't the successes that I really wanted. I mean, I suppose the successes were more personal instead of professional, but I was really surprised when I started to reflect that I was really underestimating what I had achieved. And sometimes, unfortunately, when things are tough, the achievements are, they don't look as fancy, right? But it's so important to give ourselves, like, to see that light within us. We can see it in the moment, but we can also, to give us fuel for visualizing better things in the future. Sometimes those things come from the past. We remember the feeling of winning the marathon, or for me, the standing ovation at the end of a show, perhaps when I was in musicals. And it's really good to acknowledge and to have a little reminisce about those things, because that can really help us get back on track. So, Juliette, would you be comfortable if I opened up the floor to the listeners and just see if they have any comments or wisdom on this?
Yes, I think that would be wonderful.
Mm-hmm. So if anybody would like to say anything, just put your hand up, and then I'll have the option to invite you to come and speak. And in the meantime, I just hope everybody listening does acknowledge that light within themselves. And as Juliette was mentioning earlier, she was talking a little bit about looking in the mirror and saying, I love you, and looking into your eyes. And then how, when we look at those we love, we look into their eyes and we see the light behind their eyes. We're not looking just at the surface, at the, as you said, the wrinkles and the grey hairs that are coming along, but we are looking beyond that. And I love that idea of that practice of looking in the mirror. So that's something I actually, we can get these stickers for your bathroom mirror. So my bathroom mirror has a lovely sticker that says, hello, gorgeous, in pink. And I my husband didn't like this idea, but we have 2 bathrooms upstairs. He stopped using the bathroom that I use and started using the other bathroom primarily. And I was like, why? He's like, no, it makes sense. We've got the 2, so da. And so it felt like it was like my private little bathroom. So I said to Mike, I'm going to paint it bright pink. he didn't think it was a great idea. And in fact, he helped me paint it. I was like in a frenzy. That's one of the things I achieved this year, actually, Juliette, was my mother-in-law's house, and she moved out into an apartment at a retirement community, and we took over the house. And suddenly I was looking at the house going, how do we make this a home? Like, we painted all of the downstairs, we updated a load of stuff, we had to buy furniture, and little by little, this is one of my simple achievements this year, little by little it became home. And the bathroom became bright pink. So to match the little hello gorgeous sticker that I had on there, Mike was laughing because he said it made him want to eat bubblegum when he went in, or ice cream, because it was just so vibrant, and it makes me happy. And so when I look in the mirror and I'm in my happy space, my little pink, actually perfect for what you're saying, Juliette, because Juliette's mum told her to say, I love you, I love you, I love you, pink, and pink. Wasn't that it? So if anyone can say that in their bathroom, it's me, because I'm surrounded by pink and pink when I go in there.
I love that, yeah. So when we talk about growing your light and expanding your potential to shine, I think the word or authentic gets used a lot in regards to, being yourself. But there's a quote that I love by Oscar Wilde, and he says, be yourself because everyone else is taken. Mm-hmm. And it's so true that we are so unique in our own way, and there is literally no one out there who will be us. We are an individual with a unique tapestry of life experiences, of, gifts that we bring. And it's really, my own journey was definitely a journey of learning to be myself and being okay with being myself. I definitely, and I notice it sometimes now. Someone will say something that they're doing or somewhere they want to go, and sometimes inside of me I'm like, oh, I'd like to do that, or oh, I'd love to go there. And then I remind myself to step back and just listen and not be jumping on everything that everyone says, if you know what I mean, if that makes sense. So seeing them on their journey rather than this need to jump on the bandwagon of everything that's happening around me, and stay centered within myself. And I can still like those things, but I don't necessarily have to then kind of jump to all of them. And yeah, the more I began doing in my life, the more my light started to grow and expand, because I was being my true self. I was being my authentic vibration, my authentic light. So we each have like a divine, a destiny, a pathway, and we can easily get pulled off it by various things, as well as looking to others and what they're doing. We can also be pulled off it by kind and well-meaning friends and relatives who perhaps say that, if we mention something that we want to do, that we love, they might say, well, it might not earn you enough money, it might not be enough, it might not be stable enough, and whatever kind of doubts or fears around that. But if we listen to our heart and follow the unfolding, I thought I'd get that word in there because I know you like it, Aideen. If we allow, the unfolding of our intuitive guidance and our heart wisdom, and for some people that may be more of a gut feeling. You should often feel it in your gut, in your stomach, don't you? Mm-hmm. And Florence Scovel Shinn often says that, that our path is almost like it can be a flash in the unconscious mind, and we've maybe all had that flash, but sometimes then we let the chatterbox monkey mind step in and say, oh, maybe that's, can't do that because of this or because of that, whatever reasons and things.
I think
so, yeah.
There's something I wanted to mention here, because I feel like timing is so important, and we miss opportunities often because we dawdle or we procrastinate. And sometimes if an opportunity comes our way and we're the one person there and someone's asking us, that's for us. I've done this so many times where I've been asked to do something and I've been like, don't feel like doing that, or I don't feel confident enough to do it, actually, is what often comes up. Or that might take a bit of work, so I'm not sure if I want to bother doing it. That would be the other thing. But sometimes where you are and the opportunity that seems to be right in front of you is your stepping stone to the next thing. And even if someone else might do it a little better than you, they're not there at that moment. So I think timing is really important, that we recognize that time changes, that in a week's time that opportunity might not be there anymore, and we don't have unlimited time to work with this human person we are right now. Our soul, yes, goes on. Our heart will go on. I'm thinking of the Celine Dion song now, Titanic. But the heart goes on, the soul goes on. We're not made, we're not being put into a time pressure. None of our guides or God wants us to feel like life's passing me by. I have to get it all done now. And lessons will always come around again, for sure. Your cat is like, I want to have a chat with Aideen. Hello, cat. So the cat wants to say something, I'll say something back. But yeah, be in the moment, you know, and be with the cat and be with the opportunity that comes your way. And let's all step into kind of a little bit more kind of a self-belief and self-awareness, I guess. So yeah, sometimes we need to give ourselves the pep talk, you know, I can do this.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, we're finishing up in a few minutes, Juliette, and is there anything that you'd like to say finally before we do that?
I was going to say, I think one of the ways that you continue to maintain as well as grow your life is mantra as well. And I know that for me as well, I'm very much a believer in mantra, whether that's with like, you know, the mantra that you repeat in your own mind for meditation, or whether that's using your voice and repeating mantra. And affirmations, which are a little like mantras that you repeat again and again as well. If we keep remembering that this body that we have is our instrument, like you kind of put it, you said, you know, we have this body and it's our vehicle to travel through life, and it's our instrument as well. And so finding ways that you can use your instrument to host this beautiful growing and glowing light so that you can expand your potential from within. Everyone is going to have their own ways, their own things that suit them. You know, some people love a massage, some people don't. Some people love mantra, others don't. And so finding what it is that helps you to continue growing your light and expanding your potential to shine.
Definitely. And when you say what you repeat becomes something stronger, you know, I used to repeat, I have the best diet of anyone I know. I say I'm a little bit of a competitive streak, Juliette. So somehow that's more, you know, more of an encouragement than I just have the best diet for me. You know, I have the best diet of anyone else in the whole world that I know. But anyway, it worked. I used to repeat it 50 times, and I used to count it on my fingers. So that's actually a lovely way to bring repetition, and everything that we do in our life that we do often, the habits we have, that's a form of a grounding and an opportunity to make things better. So yeah, I think find what works for you. What is it that you can do in your life that will help you grow that light? What encouragement do you need? What do you feel attracted to? And if you would like our help along your journey, we are both available. We both coach people on this. And our next session is about sharing your light. So about stepping into leadership with your light. So looking forward to sharing that with you guys next week. Thank you all so much for being here. And we look forward to hopefully chatting with you again very soon. Bye-bye.